Yes, sir. So, bros, when you think about why a Kevin Samuels took off the way that he did, why so many people were gravitating towards his channel, is because of females like this and Amanda Seales, your modern day black American feminist, your modern day mammy. I mean, this was a chick who acts like she's so woke, she's so down for the cause, things like that. But she was crying when Joe Biden got elected. Oh my goodness, bro. We all know in Amanda Seales, bros, whether it's a chick in your classroom, your workplace, your cousin, and most definitely it was probably your auntie. The aunties all around the world that Kevin Samuels would talk about. The auntie telling these girls, girl, you got your whole life ahead of you. You don't need to settle down now. And now those girls take that bad advice. They're in their mid 30s. They're popping off every night. They're drinking wine every night, Henny out the bottle every night, smoking like their fathers every night because they can't connect with a man. So now dudes get a hard on when they see in Amanda Seales talking about race baiting tactics on an IG video or on a TikTok, wherever it may be. Don't fall for the okey doke. And Amanda Seales and chicks like her is the reason why people can't come to a common ground. People would think that it's just black men that watch Kevin Samuels, but that's not the case. You got a lot of people that gravitated towards the channel, Caucasian men, Asian men, the list goes on. But people want to point out black men specifically. It is what it is. The reason I want to make this video is because she's going to prove as to why a Kevin Samuels page existed. The host, if you want to call him that, in this video is going to get pinned into a corner because he can't say how he really feels. He doesn't want to trigger Amanda, even though he triggered her by mentioning Kevin Samuels. We're going to see her facial expressions. We're going to see the deep breaths. And we're going to see why females that resemble Amanda Seales are just not tolerable. This isn't to bash her. We're just going to point out the red flags, her thought process, and why dudes should just avoid females like an Amanda Seales in the foreseeable future. Let's check it out.
You think about Kevin Samuels
Why? Why do you think about Kevin Samuels?
in terms of what I think I wasn't subscribed, so for the record, I wasn't one
I
of
was
his.
gonna say, you better put a disclaimer quick.
So you see how this dude wants to point out automatically, I wasn't subscribed, but my dude, speak your mind. This is why so many people wanted to watch Kevin Samuels' videos. He was like their conscience. He was articulating himself in a way that they couldn't. And then on the flip side, he's saying things that people wouldn't because they're scared of messing up their chances with a female like an Amanda Seales. Predominantly black woman, let's be honest, let's be real for a quick second. They don't want to mess up their chances in getting ass, so they just want to go along to get along. And then at the end of the day, they realize that they should have told the truth to begin with because that relationship didn't work or the ass wasn't worth it. So bros, just tell the truth. It will set you free. It's an old cliche, but it's the truth. No doubt about it.
I'm not one of his followers, but when I do talk to people that have been in tune with his messaging, it does seem from the outside he was trying to, I guess, what's the word? Balance out the criticism, kind of even the playing field.
Is that what he was trying to do?
In hindsight of men who, let me put this right. Black men, we are raised in a matriarch society.
You're not raised in a matriarchal society, though. That's false.
I mean,
just because you're raised by a woman doesn't mean you're raised in a matriarchal society.
In our community, I was raised by a single mother.
In a patriarchal society.
Here we go with the bullshit. This is why liberal black women and men who think more logically, they can't come to a common ground. We're not living in a patriarchal society. These women who feel like they want to run with the white liberal talking points, go move to the Middle East and you will find out what a true patriarchal society is all about. You want to talk shit all day on the internet, you wouldn't be able to do that overseas. I promise you. The problem is people are growing up in a matriarchy. You're not hearing anything about a big papa or a big daddy, whatever you want to call it. It's all about a big mama. It's all about your auntie. It's all about your mama. We got a good amount of dudes that are growing up in single parent households, predominantly with their mother. And then now they don't know how to live with the backbone. Now they've been living up in a toxic household to where they can't stand up for themselves, like the dude in this video. He's stuttering. He doesn't know what to say because he doesn't want to trigger her. Say how you feel, bro. You'll get respected for it either way, regardless of what. It's like, come on, man. We can't be serious. And this is a chick right here who grew up with her mother. We don't know who her father is. She grew up with her mother.
Okay. But in my experience, this is my experience.
No, but I'm telling you, like, your experience doesn't change the society that we're in.
Okay.
Even though you were raised by a woman, she's raising you within a patriarchal framework.
Fair.
That's false. Women can say whatever they want. Women can wear whatever they want. Women can have sex with whomever they want. You can't do that in the Middle East. You cannot do that. All the shit talking that these women do on a day-to-day basis is because people don't tell them the truth. So when somebody tells them the truth, it's like a slap in the face because they've been dealing with yes men for their whole lives. People who are unattractive on the inside are attractive on the outside, and they've been dealing with beta males their whole lives. But people, tell the truth. Say how you mean. Say what you mean what you say. That's why so many people was watching his videos. Then you got women like this who are watching his videos and they get appalled because they have not grown up with a father. Masculine energy is non-existent. We all know, for those that grew up with the father, how it is to have that stern person in the household. You know what I'm saying? But if you're growing up in the matriarchy, and that gets pointed out in the black YouTube sector a good amount of the times, because a lot of people are resentful for the way that they grew up. It is what it is. And now they want to talk about it. And now there's a space to where people are pointing out the fact that there are a good amount of people out here that are growing up with the mother, the father, non-existent. That's a big issue also. But that's not the point. We're not growing up in a patriarchal society. Those days are dead. People want to talk about body autonomy, abortions, the list goes on. Even overseas, you can have an abortion, but it's a life or death situation. It's not because you just don't want to be a mother anymore. People got to really realize the times that we're in and stop letting people like an Amanda Seales, who just loves to hear her voice, talk you into a corner and then you just go along just so you could just end the conversation. Like I said before, bros, we all know an Amanda Seales. She could be attractive on the outside, but on the inside, she's very ugly.
Let me try to express.
Women aren't like, she wasn't raising you within a space where women are leaders that are revered and like that you should aspire. Like, that's not what we're in.
I'm just laying up what I think these brothers are coming from.
Fair. Okay. Okay.
It's not me. I'm not.
Okay.
And I think that
I despise them.
I think that those brothers who don't maybe have the strongest self-esteem or the
like yourself,
strongest awareness of how to lead a woman in a healthy way, at times maybe felt pushed to the side, felt discredited because they didn't have a certain status. And I think with a guy like Kevin Samuels, they gravitated towards him because he was now holding women accountable more than we've ever really seen it. It wasn't delivered the best, but I can only from the outside look at it. That is completely false.
That is, I'm going to have to go completely against that.
Okay. So why do you think people were listening?
I think people were listening to him because we're in a up society and he was confirmation bias for their uppery. That's why. The same reason that people are mad at me because I'm affirming a truth that's inconvenient to their right? So they're like, that bitch, she's making me feel some type of way. I don't want to feel some type of way. And who the is she to make me feel some type of way? But the way you feel that I'm making you feel is because it's a truth that you know. but you have to deal with it, and you're not ready to deal with it. Because if you deal with it, it's going to bring up a whole bunch of other shit probably that you have to deal with. And you don't necessarily have the support system around you or the tools to be able to do so. And that is the fault of our whole social network, right? But this idea of holding women accountable, to me, it's a false equivalency.
Because the reason why he came up is because you said that, and this is only me seeing clips, like highlights of his.
Man, stop lying, dude. You was watching the streams. You was watching the shorts. You was watching the stories. Stop lying, dude. It does you no justice to lie. You're only lying to yourself because what? You're having a little interview with a chick that you can tell does not feel Kevin Samuels. You would think, bros, who's worse? Kevin Samuels? Some dude that had a YouTube page to where black women were willingly calling with unrealistic dating standards? Or a Maury Povich, who has had a show running for the past decade, exploiting black women for their terrible decisions to where they don't know who the father is of their child because they're having casual sex with multiple partners at the same time, unprotected. Who's worse, bros? They have no smoke for a Maury Povich, making black women look idiotic. You are not the father, running off the stage crying, boo-hooing. You got the dude running into the crowd. Yes. I mean, bros, you would think that this dude was really disrespecting females, but he was stern. He was owning his platform. That's it. All he was pointing out the things that dudes have been wanting to say for the past years, but they didn't want to because they didn't want to mess up the chances of getting ass. They grew up in a household with a mother who basically dominated them, so they basically lived with that lifestyle, getting older. Shit like that, man. Come on.
Oh, I've seen a lot.
Okay. So you probably more of an expert in this space than me. But it did seem like you were saying the thing of like women having these like crazy expectations that they don't necessarily apply to themselves. And it felt like he was trying to do the same thing from the clips I saw.
But the thing is that I'm basing that on value systems, integrity, right? Your ethics. He's basing that on materialism, on your outward appearance, and on status. So he was doing what I think is a very big disservice to folks because he's aligning relationships on surface things versus grounding them in the depths of our spirit.
Ooh, that was deep. Let's be honest and let's be real, bros. When Kevin Samuels first started, and I got a good amount of people who was talking about Kevin Samuels that I wouldn't even expect to. That just lets you know that what was going on YouTube was trickling down left and right. Even my brother brought up, yo, you heard about what happened with Kevin Samuels? I'm like, oh, shit. What the hell you know about this dude? You know what I'm saying? Of course, I've seen some clips. Of course, I've seen a good amount because it's entertaining. You know, a good amount of people in the black sector love being entertained. They love seeing a woman get put in their place, quote unquote. They hate when they say holding women accountable because these women don't like being held accountable. That's why they're throwing tantrums right now about having an abortion. You know what I'm saying? What is that? What is that a product of? Casual sex, not growing up with the father, daddy issues, having the right over your body. The list goes on. You want to talk about basing it off of spirits, shit like that. When these women's spirits are all over the place because they want to embrace all of these philosophies that's not helping them. It's not helping the quote unquote black community at all because we can't even come to a common ground. We can't even have a simple dialogue because it will get hijacked by a female like an Amanda Seales, your modern day black American feminist. You had Kevin Samuels helping dudes, like I said in the beginning of his YouTube journey, talking about men in the corporate America if you want to make it in that world, then you got to change up things about yourself. He was talking to a good amount of dudes in a stern way, like a father would. That's why dudes rocked with him. The list goes on. Telling dudes that they shouldn't be worried about a girl. They got to get themselves straight. I've seen videos to where dudes are using it as like motivational clips, talking about if you got one job and you making $15 at 20 hours a week, you should be getting another job working another 20 hours a week. What's wrong with that? They don't point out the things where he was actually trying to help dudes become better individuals. They only want to point out the things. They only want to point out the clips to where he was addressing females. You got a dude who blew up because he called a woman average. You're average at best.
And those surface things that he was, basing things on, ultimately end up being about greed and being about just things that don't carry you through when you really are dealing with life. Your looks, your money, your status. When your mom dies, what's that gonna, like, it may mean that you can bury her in the coffin that you want.
Yo, bros, you see what happens when you talk to somebody that just loves to hear their self-talk? There's plenty of people out here that if they had the money to buy a coffin for their mother, I promise you they would, instead of cremating their mother. Money is needed in this society. We can't downplay it. We can't talk about money doesn't buy you happiness, because for a good amount of people, it will. For people that were growing up in impoverished neighborhoods, for people that were struggling to make ends meet, living check to check, it will make them happy. We can't speak for everybody.
If your child is born with a disability, it may mean that you can get them the care that you want because you have some money, but
So talk to the lower frequency.
the high vibration is I'm emotional right now. The high vibration.
No shit, Amanda. Just like the majority of black American feminists and liberal black women, you're emotional. No shit. When you're having a conversation that's uncomfortable, when you're having a conversation that you're not dictating, when you're having a conversation about a topic that you're not too fond of because the dude addressed issues in a way that nobody's going to have, that nobody is going to basically address you with. Nobody's going to talk to you in a way that Kevin Samuels was addressing the women that were calling his show. You're just mad that people actually gravitated in one direction, hearing a masculine voice that they weren't really too familiar with growing up. A good amount of these females couldn't stand Kevin Samuels. And like I said, bros, who's worse, Kevin Samuels or Maury Povich? The question is rhetorical.
Is you consistently challenging yourself to live in light. And all those things that he was talking about are not about that. It's not about that. Because you want to be with somebody that loves what's inside of you. This is a shell. Mm-hmm. Like you want to be, and you want to be with friends. Like that's really what it is. But we are in a society that is so focused on this outward appearance, image appearance, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm in a business that's based on, right? Like in showbiz and Hollywood, like it's so much about like how you look. I remember Keenan Ivory Wayans, like on Last Comic Standing, like telling Aida Rodriguez that her yellow dress was distracting from her telling jokes. And I was like, that's a you problem, bruh. Like,
so now you want to attack Keenan Ivory Wayans, a brother that basically put on his whole family. Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Damon Wayans, Kim Wayans, And let's be honest and let's be real. Sometimes what you're wearing is going to distract from what you're talking about because people are going to be paying attention to what you're wearing. Things like this is why Kevin Samuels' page took off. People really can't hear constructive criticism because they don't want to hear it. And that's why they get turned off. That's where the facial expressions come in, to where they hear, we're holding women accountable. Oh my goodness, bros. Amanda Seales, she's just an easy target. This isn't any darts getting thrown at her direction, but let's be honest, let's be real. This is a reason why her relationship history isn't too pretty. This is the same chick that tried to attack Myron Rowe for sexual assault without any proof, trying to mess up his chances at becoming a neurosurgeon. This is supposed to be the woke Africana chick that so many dudes get a hard on because she's talking about white supremacy. Dude, she does not give a shit about you, and she shows it every chance she gets. But it's enough of that, though. I'm out.